Probably no one expected 100 Thieves versus GGS finals.
Yeah, I'm really surprised we ended up playing against 100 Academy.
Definitely on a rampage, gets the next kill, Kuma revives. Oh, but Prism over the top, gonna get the GA out of Deathly. Deathly's gonna die as well. 100 Thieves might have just won this game. Oh my God, that pick was unreal.
GGS is a really strong team, and they definitely have one of the better ball lanes in Academy. Me coming in as a rookie, I feel like I have a lot to learn, especially when I go up against them.
Each other in, trying to do a little bit of work that usually isn't done, and what a shot and hits from Keith on all the skill shots there to make it work.
I think it's pretty important for me to win kind of a redemption arc for my core season last split.
Panda falls as they strip him down, and it's gonna be Phil also on the ground. A double kill for Anda and one hell of a game for the jungler.
The second he got behind and I solo killed him a couple times, it was like they just really had nothing going for them.
Gonna pay off for just a moment. Blast out attack. No, he's gonna stay alive. He gets the kill into Anda. Are you friggin' serious?
I kind of feel like it's the same story where it's like if I win my lane, it'll be a pretty easy 3-0.
10 teams located all across the greater Los Angeles area have been whittled down to the top 2 for the Academy World Finals, where either Golden Guardians or 100 Thieves Academy will claim their very first Academy title. This is Academy Blast Off. That's Mark Z over there. This is Golden Glue, mid laner extraordinaire for Cloud9 Academy, and we've got 15 minutes to give you the rundown on the title match. But gentlemen, how you doing today?
Good, good. I'm excited for the game.
Pretty good. Just carried Freak in a TFT game by backseating him, so I'm feeling really good.
Nice. Mark got some LP. We're excited for some Academy games here. First up, though, let's talk bracket. Both of today's competitors knocked out favorites on their rise to the finals. For Golden Guardians, they made short work of the reigning Academy champions in TSM Academy. And despite being taken to 5 games versus Echo Fox Academy, 100 Thieves did the unthinkable and knocked out Cloud9, preventing an expected return to the final.
We'll get there in a second. Let's start with Golden Guardians.
I don't know what happened to those guys.
Yeah, Golden Guardians, though, I mean, they got to play against the kind of reeling TSM with all the roster swaps that were going on. You have a substitute top laner that's actually a jungler, a Cadian who's probably a little down in the spirits after getting removed from the main team. So Golden Guardians able to take that and run with it and actually look really good.
Yeah, dominant series coming out of the Golden Guardians will give them a fair amount of confidence moving into the finals here today against 100 Thieves Academy. And when we talk about 100 Thieves Academy, again, the unexpected win in some ways over Cloud9 Academy. We can turn directly to you, Golden Glue, since we got you. What was going on?
Man, I'm trying to like block out that week from my memory, you know, like this is bringing it all back. Yeah, I mean, 100 Thieves played a lot better than we thought they would, and they really played to their win condition of someday. They did it really well, and we didn't really punish it. We didn't follow our game plan very well, and they had a really good day. And even not someday, even like Chrismal and Sligo, I think everyone stepped up and like did what they needed to do to win.
Yeah, I think that's what stood out to me when watching those games was, you know, Sumday's probably the best player in Academy. If I had to just say for someone, it's probably him. But then the other members of the team were not just like getting 1v9 carried by Someday or anything like that. You know, 100 Thieves as a whole stepped up.
Right, the expectation is that Someday will perform. The surprises came when the other members were able to step up alongside him. When you take a look at these teams, though, you might be surprised at the players taking to the stage because in some senses it feels like an LCS match with the names we have up there.
Yeah, and a lot of people, like fans just casually watching, are like, oh, Academy, what a joke. There's all these like pro players and LCK champions playing in it. But to be fair, the reason that they're there is because the young guys who were in Academy prior got moved up. Fake God actually is the starter for 100 Thieves, and that's why Someday's playing.
Right.
Same with Ole and what happened with the substitutions there. And so it's actually more of a sign that Academy is working than it's not working.
Right. Well, and Golden Glue, you've been one of the players, within Academy who was kind of first to make that jump between LCS Academy and really have your team flex the Academy roster in a way that was useful for their LCS squad. And now it appears, as to Mark's point, that more of the teams are picking up kind of on the value of Academy.
Yeah, I mean, I think after last year, Cloud9 was kind of the first team to kind of do it. And after last year's summer, when me and Dennis subbed in to beat TSM in the playoffs, everyone's like, oh, wow, you can actually, that's some high value. If you can have an Academy player beat Bjergsen, you know, like you could probably invest in your Academy team. And I'm happy to see that more teams are looking to strengthen their academy rosters. Golden Guardians is a perfect example of what they did from spring to summer. So I think it's really good for the growth of the players and the scene.
Right, at once a very top-heavy kind of system is beginning to kind of flesh out and become a little bit more diverse in the competition itself. Ahead of his first final, though, we had Golden Guardians coach Inero weigh in on their matchup versus 100 Thieves.
Thank you very much, Dash. I'm here with Inero, coach of Golden Guardians Academy. You guys are playing 100 Thieves now in the final, but the last time you played was a very epic tiebreaker. What were your takeaways from that last encounter?
That was honestly a pretty fast game. Like, I mean, we kind of stomped the game. Didn't really have much to think about it. I mean, it would have been nice to end the day that fast, so we were pretty happy since we got to go straight home and not wait. But I don't know, man. It was just another game. We were chilling.
So what are the differences now in a best-of-5 series now that you have to play, a few more games now against your opponents in order to clinch the title?
It honestly feels a lot nicer since we can take a few more risks with draft things that we want to do. That was one of the things we took advantage of in the TSM set. We had like a rough idea of what we thought they would do going in, and then tried to adapt based on that. And I think when it's best-of-5 like this, I have a lot of breathing room with draft. Like, our players basically play anything we need them to. So I can kind of guess what the other team's going to play. If I think they don't play something, then maybe I don't have to target it and I can wait and then play around that. So, that's what I'm planning to do going in. If they've proven to have learned something different this week and go better on that, yeah, I could just adapt draft. It feels pretty nice. So I'm prepared on that end. All of our players are prepared, and I'm ready to play like an actual set again.
And then, of course, on preparation, the matchup, everyone will obviously be first thinking of what are the plans for taking down Someday in the top lane?
I mean, I don't think we're focused on doing too much around that, really. I know their plan is they're going to come top lane. Like, that's kind of what they do in every single game. But we're not too worried about trying to, take Someday down. We're focused on just ourselves and playing well as a team. We're not worried about any individuals on the other team at all.
Well, best of luck. Certainly seem very well prepared for the set, Inero. Thank you very much. We're going to throw it back to Dash for the rest of Blastoff.
Citing preparation and the importance of being flexible or willing to adapt as 100 Thieves reveals some of their strategies to them.
And surprisingly, talking about not trying to deal with Someday in a certain regard, where he probably has such a large champion pool, he can perform on so many different things that if you spend a bunch of bans on Someday, you kneecap his effectiveness by 5% maybe, so better off spending that time thinking about other things.
Right, really, what's the value there? But I think it can't be understated that Someday is a massive portion of 100 Thieves' success at this split on the Academy roster. Here, take a look at this crap.
Little face.
Right there where his face appears is where he made the move from the LCS roster down into Academy, and you can see that very, very sharp uptick as soon as he joins the roster to put them into postseason positioning.
And it's pretty obvious that it's him kind of doing it. In LCS, we were always waiting for that super dominant Someday to come out. For whatever reason on the 100 Thieves main roster, we never saw that. But that is the guy that's delivering for the Academy team now.
Yeah. I think you saw glimpses of it in the LCS game.
Yeah.
I remember his Jax game, and specifically the base defense. But it's just basically he's doing it now every game in Academy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, doing it with much greater consistency this time around. You can see those crazy numbers there on the bottom half of your screen. The person charged with controlling Someday here. Well, maybe Inero says they're not going to do a ton around Someday. Somebody still has to lane against the guy, and that would be Darshan.
yeah. I mean, Darshan is an experienced pro, so I think he'll be able to handle it. But, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, Darshan having a very good season himself in Academy.
Yeah.
If people hadn't been watching, they might not have known that he's basically been the second best top laner in the league. And he does have a tall task ahead of him, but he does have a ton of experience, like Golden Glue was saying, against imported Korean players. He's been playing against them for years now.
Right. If anyone is the most equipped to go into a best-of-5 against another LCS caliber top laner, it would be Darshan here in Academy. Now, to give us their thoughts, though, on the other side of the map, we're going to send it over to the casters who will be bringing you the game, Pastry and Crumbs.
Thank you, Dash. I'm Pastry, and he's the Crumbs. And while you can give the Someday win condition to 100 Thieves Academy, Golden Guardians bot lane has been a foundation of its own, Crumbs.
That's right. Inero does not have to worry about the top lane because you have Keith and Olay in the bottom lane. They have been the best bottom lane in Academy so far, and the swap from Keith being on Cloud9 Academy over to Golden Guardians has been a huge benefit for this squad, giving them the much-needed aggression that they need to snowball games quickly, like they did in their victory against 100 Thieves in the regular season, where they didn't really have any comeback potential on the side of 100 Thieves. It was just a complete stomp for them.
I think on the other side, though, it's not like Prismal and Stunt having a bad season. Actually, Prismal as a rookie is having a very impressive season for himself.
Yeah, Prismal has been very good for this team. He's been really outspoken and letting us know what's been going on behind the scenes and what has really allowed this team to shine through. He's had a lot more confidence. The Ezreal picks have been huge, and it's not just him. Stunt, as his support, has been helping him out a lot as well. And seeing the 100 Thieves team take a lot of what Someday brings and really educate the rest of the team and bringing them up to speed has been a treat to see, because you've seen their improvement from regular season to first best of 5 against Echo Fox, where it went to 5, and then against Cloud9 Academy, which was a much better series for them.
Yeah, we'll certainly see if there's any jungle pressure being put down there. We heard from Inero that they know the Thieves plan just to go top lane. Perhaps Hyde will be visiting the bot lane.
Yeah, and focusing on the bottom lane is something that always works in pretty much any meta all the time. You get so much value out of just denying 2 people at the same time, and Golden Guardians has a lot of experience doing this. You have players that have legitimately won championships before. You've got Olay, you've got Keith in the bottom lane. They will know how to exploit a lead in the bottom lane, which is why I think Golden Guardians can feel okay, knowing that Darshan will hold his own, put your priority in the bottom lane, and take 100 Thieves out of their comfort zone.
Well, we'll see if that flexibility can benefit them. That's what we're excited for, though, in the bot lane. Until then, it's back to blast off.
Thank you very much, Pastry Time. We have covered the 2 potentially most contentious lanes, but I do want to get your thoughts on the mid lane matchup, as you are the mid lane expert here and have played against both of these guys. Palafox, Saligo, how do you see it going?
I think we're going to see some Azir Corki.
A lot of Azir
I think
Corki.
we're going to see some Azir Corki.
Big bold prediction, my friend.
Yeah, no, but I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be kind of like a pretty safe mid lane matchup for the most part. I think most of them are, I think they're going to pick mages for the most part. I'm excited to see if maybe GGS pulls out a Tristana. They're kind of known for the Tristana, and that's makes games very explosive.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
Right, Palafox had some solid Tristana games in their semifinal, so exactly as you referenced.
Yeah, and that can be very easily played into the Azir Corki. And it definitely, when you pick Tristana, the game is going to be very revolved around you. You're going to need to be able to push turrets and push your lanes and find kills with the rocket jump. But besides that, I think it's going to be, I'd probably give some favor to Palafox. I think he's been playing pretty well recently, and he's also very good at Azir Corki. But and Sligo can perform on Azir Corki, but he definitely can do it.
Yeah, and I think just as a whole, Palafox has always been most comfortable on control mages, and so the meta is kind of going back there. We've seen Victors and stuff starting to crop up, and he's always had a fantastic Victor, and even Cassiopeia and stuff.
Right, but in a lot of ways, then that suggests that the action won't necessarily be centered around the mid lane, or we shouldn't expect it to be. Maybe if there's a Tristana in the mix, but largely farm it up in the mid lane. Let's see what happens in the side lanes. Just out of curiosity, when we talk about the teams as a whole, where do the 2 of you stand on how this series will sway, game score? What are we looking at?
I'm going to go 100 Thieves, probably winning.
Okay.
If you make me put a number on it, 3-1.
3-1, and it's because of Someday, or what is the primary factor?
It's because of Someday. I always like when you have the most consistent win condition in the series. I think being able to play through him and knowing that you'll always get a great performance out of him makes me lean towards that team. Plus, they took down the greatest academy team of all time in C9, so they got to be pretty good.
Right, they're riding high off of that victory. Golden Glue, what are your thoughts?
Well, I scrim both these teams a lot, and I think I'm going to give the favor to GGS. I think they're a more well-rounded team. I don't think they have to play to any certain condition, where Someday is the only condition you really play to on 100 Thieves. I'm expecting a 3-1 from GGS, and I think that they have a lot of different play styles, and like Keith coming in, he has a different play style. He's a lot more aggressive, where GGS is generally a very safe team. So I think they have a nice balance of aggression, but with also control.
Well, either way, then it indicates we have a close series on our hands. And I think from there, the natural place you go to is exactly what Inero was talking about, that need for flexibility, right? Once your opponent kind of shows you their method of winning, their strategy for winning within a best of 5, how do you pivot around that? How do you draft around that to make sure that you have the tools to ultimately take them down in the second game?
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey Moser, the coach for 100 Thieves Academy, has, I think this is her 3rd or 4th split with them, so she has a fair amount of experience as well. So we'll see if the draft starts going heavily in one team's favor.
Without a doubt. Well, minus 50 seconds. Blast off is imminent, rather, so strap yourselves in. Academy Worlds is blasting off right now. There you go, Mark.
Thank you, Dash. As we get the series underway, let's see the players on the stage today. For Golden Guardians, who will be on the blue side for Game 1, it is in the top lane, Darshan. In the jungle, Hard. Mid lane, and Palafox. Bot Keith, support Olay, and their coach Inero.
And over on the red side, it's 100 Thieves Academy. You've got Someday in the top lane, Anda in the jungle, Soligo on mid, Prismal and Stunt on bottom support, and their coach, Kelsey Moser.
And as we heard from the desk crumbs, expecting a close best of 5 between these two teams, which I think is somewhat fair. But the fact that these are the two teams that are even here competing in the final might be the most surprising thing.
Considering that both these teams' rosters were not the rosters that they started with in the beginning of the season. It was all about those mid-season substitutions with Keith being traded over and as well with Someday. So it has been a very short amount of time for these teams to ramp up to the level where they're at today. And lo and behold, it was good enough to make it to finals.
Yep, they've powered through. They've each individually powered through the past defending champions of Academy. So we will crown another champion here today. We'll see how it shakes out in game 1 for the draft. We heard Anero talk about how flexible he thinks he can be up against 100 Thieves Academy. And in general, in a best of 5, you get a little bit of wiggle room. You can try some things, you can see, let some picks through. But this is relatively straightforward so far. Renekton away from Sunday, always a plus. And there's Ezreal and Yuumi, the other two bans.
So Golden Guardians already banning out the 2 most important picks in 100 Thieves' victory over Cloud9 Academy, which was the Renekton for Sunday. He played 3 games of that, and I believe it was 2 games of Ezreal for Prismal. It might have been 2 or 3. I might be wrong with that one, but those champions are very powerful right now, and this might be the first time where we actually are tempting Someday to pick something different. When we banned the Renekton and Aatrox, it was Gangplank that he liked to play.
Well, there is Silas first pick there for Golden Guardians, so potentially there for hard. We have seen it being played in solo lanes as well, so still a lot of power and flexibility there for that champion, but 100 Thieves Academy keeping it simple. This is one of the best champions for mid lane or top lane sometimes in the meta, and it is arguably Soligo's best champion. So Azir will be selected and then Xayah beside it.
Ooh, and right away, Golden Guardians with the LCS patented answer, the response to Xayah, knocking that Caitlyn away. You could also take away a Morgana here, but it's unlikely that 100 Thieves... Well, never mind. You take the Morgana here and you prevent the Rakan from being locked in for Xayah.
Yep, kind of nice little blocker pick there. So that will leave Karma actually over to 100 Thieves Academy. Can be played as an enchanter in support, can be played in solo lanes, very flexible champion. So already done with these first 6 picks and kind of a lot going on actually. More than anything, it's funny that we talked about the bot lane potentially being important, and it seems like in the early stages of this draft, there is a lot of attention on bot lane.
Yeah, and I think that for 100 Thieves, this Karma cannot possibly be a flex anymore because Azir is almost locked into mid, and there is no way you're telling me that on your finals matchup, you're giving Someday Karma in the top lane. That's just not going to happen. He gets last pick. So it's going to be Xayah Karma against Caitlyn Morgana, which really puts Keith in the precarious position of how aggressive can he be in the laning phase, because if he can be the upfront aggro Caitlyn, it can really put a dent on 100 Thieves' bottom lane.
Knowing Keith, that's exactly what he'll want to be in this 2v2. We'll see if he can get away with it though. Jungle is being banned away here in phase 2. However, Rek'Sai and Jarvan will leave the draft table. And last ban now for 100 Thieves Academy. Can count those seconds down and go with Elise. So again, a lot of jungle attention. Interesting to see Elise on the 100 side. That's actually quite a common pick for Anda. Had a lot of success in their quarterfinal, I believe, with the champion.
And you know, this is really strange because this was the same draft approach that happened when these two teams met, in that the jungle pool was really heavily clinched. Already we have 5 jungle champions being targeted if you count the Sylas. Now that's 6. So Anda's champion pool is really being tested here. It was the Xin Zhao last time. It was not promising, all right? It wasn't very good. It failed to dive into the top lane, hard invaded and counter jungle, and had a really positive result. So now we get to have the Trundle, but there is almost no gank assist with this jungler when you're looking at setting up your lanes.
Yeah, again, if we assume that 100 Thieves wants to play to that top side, we have seen Anda play well around all his lanes, but especially alongside Someday. We already heard that you can't take Someday out of the game in draft, so yeah, I think targeting Anda is a relatively smart decision, because if he can't play an aggressive champion that can apply a lot of pressure to that lane, Someday is significantly less threatening if you just try and neutralize the 1v1.
And Anda's also been the second best performer for the 100 Thieves team, so it is really targeting what you would say the next best thing, and now we get to see what Someday responds against Gangplank. This is going to be really interesting because it might determine a lot for the series if his pick goes well. Tristana top is also available. It's going to be Vladimir.
Yep, something we've seen a lot into the GP. People seem to like the matchup, although Vlad, good if he can get him through lane regardless, so I think for either of these champions, they'll be pretty happy. I believe this was the champion Darshan had last time these two teams played, however. So if there is any dives in the top lane, I think And will be a bit more careful next time.
Yeah, they are not going to be looking at taking a lot of fights early. I mean, the 100 Thieves lineup has almost no way of setting up a fight. In fact, you are really reliant on Anda setting up that pillar and then everybody else just kind of clobbering in, whereas Golden Guardians, the ease of execution for them is just so easy. You can siege, you have Skarner to start a fight, you can even use the Silas to maybe steal the Trundle ultimate, steal the stats from him, and now all of a sudden you've got a front line, or even use the Vladimir ultimate. So they have definitely given themselves a lot more tools than the Thieves have so far.
I think this is something we'll see throughout this series is Golden Guardians have been a very aggressive, fairly lane-dominant team in Academy, just trying to win their lanes and snowball from there. Where 100 Thieves really have been, despite how good Sunday has been, more of a mid to late game team, loving their team fighting, loving their side lane pressure, using Sunday to kind of barrel down a lane. So I think we should be expecting a pretty explosive 15 minutes from the Golden Guardian side. If 100 Thieves can get through that with their Azir, with their Vladimir relatively unscathed, then their game plan should be relatively straightforward.
I completely agree. Looking for a lot out of the Golden Guardians early, and if it's any indication, last week it was Kelsey that told us that she feels like the meta is drifting a little bit more towards scaling. I mean, she got this far, the team is here, so I think there's a lot of merit to that, and now we are going to get to see just how late can Vladimir and Azir get.
Yeah, because Golden Guardians certainly have picked things up as far as pace goes throughout the split, and especially here in the postseason. But 100 Thieves didn't get here by luck, that's for sure. I've had just an incredible season. Even given how this season started before Sunday arrived, 100 Thieves were looking like it might not be going so well. But team has rallied, and now they'll be playing Game 1 of the Academy Summer Finals here.
You have Anda with a sweeper, so they do have an option of invading if they feel like it.
Probably want to take down at least the ward they can see. They're going to move around and maybe decide what to give the XP to. It's going to be Soligo, and Anda getting a bit of that extra as well. The stunt's going to walk up, does have his trinket ready, so going to walk in and just threaten Ole, pops the mantra, gets the Q, does a little bit of damage there with the Comet, does get bound for his trouble, and Keith fires in, so already the bot lane starting.
All trading right there.
All right, no wards being put down though, at least in this bottom half yet. As I say that, I see the trinket right in front of Golden Guardians, so that was Prismal that put that down. But again, no information that is unexpected, and Hard's going to repay in kind, and Powerfox will share some of that XP there with the Skarner.
Although, clearing it so late, you do tell everybody I am starting on the red side as Skarner, which is no surprise. He's likely to go for a bit of a farm route, trying to get those Predator boots as quickly as possible. Otherwise, his ganks are not very scary.
Powerfox starting with that E, trying to clear that way with the passive. With Hard solo start on the red. Same story here for Anda, who's going to go straight over to the Grump. Puts down the W and starts whacking away. Soligo, though, getting pressured early. Remember, this was definitely a pick Golden Guardians would have expected when they first picked this Silas. So Palafox, I assume, feeling pretty confident in this particular matchup.
It's a huge priority. I mean, Cloud9 was banning Azir when they played 100 Thieves, and the first time that Soligo got to play it, that it was not banned, they picked it in the first rotation. So this is a huge pick for them, especially in Game 1. If they can't pull off a win here, it's going to free up Golden Guardians for another ban or more draft shenanigans out of them, like we heard from Nero.
Well, here in the top side, back in bottom, there's some trading happening here. Again, Stunt using that range support. Both ignites here as well. So the intended splash forward ignite auto. That first blood Stunt. Absolute killer instinct. Takes down Ole.
Wow, that is a huge deal. The Karma and Xayah getting ahead of the Morgana and Caitlyn. And it's all off the back of the Karma support.
Yeah, just such a smart play there from Stunt. As soon as he saw Ole was in range, went for it with the flash of Palafox. Looking for Soligo, chains all the spells together, but doesn't quite connect that stun. Bone plating gonna proc, does take still significant damage from the soldiers that Soligo summons, but I am impressed how aggressive Palafox is willing to be in this matchup.
So he's actually doing that because he's saying, I don't respect your jungler at all. I don't think Trundle is going to do anything to me. Even if he's in the area, it's just a champion that is not good at ganking Trundle, or the Sylas, this early on. You need more levels of Pillar. He needs to be stronger. Azir needs to deal more damage for him to consider him a threat. And that aggression is resulting in a lack of CS for him, though.
Resulting in some space for Hard, though, but we'll watch this again. I mean, I feel like Keith and Ollie thought they had something here.
The root was really what set it all up because the feathers were so far back out of Prismal that you just don't expect that to all line up on Morgana.
Well coordinated for both of them there in the bottom lane, gives them first blood, which is not how we expected the matchup to go. Not that Prismal Hunts have been a badly performing bot lane this season, but they are not aggressive like Keith and Ollie. So to nab first blood in that lane has to feel pretty good, especially when you get counterpicked.
Well, I think the Karma does a lot against the Morgana here, adding the extra mobility, so not only can you avoid the bindings, but when she has their ultimate, you can really get out of that one. You can have enough burst to actually get past the shield and set up roots as well. So there's a lot of play that Morgana lacks when it comes to dealing with these pokey mages like Karma.
Roam here as well into mid lane. Palafox just dashing away with the E. It does get the vision down, suspecting that stunt may have been roaming there from the bot lane. And in the meantime, just going to root up the crab and give Andrew a helping hand there in the jungle. Such a nice guy.
So that's a big crab, though, because the Infernal Dragon is going to come up in the next 20 seconds. Both these teams would obviously love to have that objective.
Everybody loves Infernal. Something. It's like Sriracha, you know? Everyone loves a bit of that.
I don't.
You don't like Sriracha?
No, I have tried it twice, too.
I know you're need more heat in your spicy sauce crumbs, I understand.
It's true.
Alright, well, Hard at least roams around, does try and pressure Ando with some counter jungle, but no success there. TP in mid lane, Soligo maybe going to be forced to burn the flash. Good angle, but still going to get crystallized. Safe enough away, though, to not have any follow-up.
They're really trying to push in Soligo constantly, but he's actually doing really well here. Yes, he burned summoners, but he's farming up a storm. He has the highest CS in the game, and Skarner is just wasting his time, right? He'll need to come back at level 6 to kill Soligo, otherwise that gank in mid lane is not going to do a whole lot.
Indian wave here from Someday, though, in the top lane. Monstrous there as Keith continuing to get pressure, does not get rooted. Really nice net. Probably does burn the black shield. Stunt now, I think that's his cue to get aggressive. Not going to quite latch the root as Keith is still firing shots. And also potentially roaming down here, but just going to clear the ward in that brush.
And Keith opted out of continuing the lane dominance once the first blood had done that.
Whoa, what a play! Palafox sets it all up for himself. There's the crystallized order after the flat, and that's a well-deserved kill from Golden Guardian.
That was sick. That's why Hard goes into the mid lane, burns down the flash, because you have access to that play against Azir. We usually never see this matchup of Sylas into Azir, and so stealing the ultimate is a genius way of setting it up.
Yeah, extremely well played there by the jungle mid-draw of Golden Guardians. Just watch this again.
Because he hasn't stolen it yet. He wants to really save that. The second he gets it, Soligo doesn't even have time to think, what could he possibly do with that? Oh, wait a minute. Take me down.
Holds his stun for the free follow-up, and Hard there just to make sure. Up to Soligo counter ultis, but extremely well played as Palafox uses that flash aggressively. Go ahead and net that kill. Bottom lane though, still sparks flying as Hard will roam down. Has Impale ready, did not need to use it in the mid lane thanks to Sylas' hijack.
He did use his flash though, so that's a big deal. He now doesn't have that, but Predator boots are open. And Anda's not sick, so the Thieves don't want to take a battle here. Even though you have the teleport advantage for Someday, he's not in room to TP, and you always have to consider in the bottom lane fights that Darshan can now get involved with the Gangplank ultimate, and that'll just ruin your day.
Yeah, Hard actually roaming the bot lane just to help push that wave, so Keith and Ole can get it back. That triggers an instant move to the Infernal Drake, though, for 100 Thieves Academy. Palafox will see it there with the ward, but cannot do anything to stop it. So 100 Thieves kind of picking up the pace here early. Going to very assertively take that Drake.
Very good timing by them, knowing that the reason why Hard showed up was to reset the wave so that the bottom lane could have a base, and the second they go for it, surprise, you left the dragon uncontested.
So was taken swiftly as a result. Soligo Now with that Fiendish Codex built up versus the Revolver done there for Palafox. Gonna continue to try and push in and apply pressure. Maybe look for another all-in with Hard, who again still has access to his ulti. Blue buff donation goes over. Hard spotted on the right side of mid thanks to that control ward. Firing away in the brush, but can't hear anyone.
It should be a lot tougher to replicate that gank against Azir now. There's no flash on Palafox, which was necessary to make that play. There's no flash on Skarner. So as long as Soligo continues to play really far back, I think that he's going to be safe.
Headshot there onto stunt from Keith. Just with the BF sword finish now, trying to push these waves out a little bit faster. Hard and then continuing to kind of shadow down towards the bottom half here, which has left the top lane isolated, which I guess was kind of our expectation.
The two champions are really though very difficult to abuse. The Gangplank in the top lane, obviously one of the safest top laners you can have, and then Vladimir, you don't really want to go gank him as Skarner. That's pretty tough to pull off. So it's just going to be a trade of farm and see who can actually team fight better. And when we looked at these two teams in regular season and playoffs, you can really tell that Someday is the kind of player that will almost never make an unforced error. I mean, you can rarely see this guy doing something bad that was entirely unprompted. Whereas we have seen in playoffs, Darshan make some teleport plays that are suspicious, that made no sense. And so I think that with that being said, we have to give Someday the advantage of having a very strong scaling pick. But I just think that the Gangplank naturally is going to be stronger than Vladimir, so we're asking a lot more out of Someday than we are for Darshan.
He has delivered often when he has been asked, but Gold is holding nice and even. It really just is that first Infernal that's the advantage of his Ander in mid lane, trying to set up potentially a counter gank. Palafox might be a tough target to pin down, given the tools they have available. Gonna walk over that control ward, but don't feel like a 2v2 contest on the Golden Guardian side, so that one will be trumped away there by the Trundle.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's Predator Trundle. How many times have you seen that before?
That's true, actually. Not very often. Palafox back in. Just across the Revolver. Good ult there from Prismal. Keith also burning down with that Ignite. Prismal wants it. He's going to flash in. Gets the auto down. Gets the kill. Ole, though, pops the shackles. Into the stopwatch he goes, but still maybe going to get drilled down. Tether on. There's Ole dead. And swoops in for the chomp.
The Predator Trundle, just as we're talking about him, finds his way to the bottom lane, help out that 2v2. And the Prismal stunt combination is really doing a lot of work down here. While we thought that it was going to be about Someday and Darshan, it really has not been. It has been all about getting pressure bottom lane, getting some kills down there, and finding objectives. Golden Guardians trying to answer, but they've been snuffed out.
Well, there is some pressure here on the Rift Herald. Teleport in from the Guardians. Hijack here onto Trundle ulti. Palafox is trying to keep them away. Someday also on the top of the screen. No smite here either, so they have to kind of protect this for a little while longer. That does give 100 Thieves time to go in and now start a fight. Soligo with the swoop in. Emperor survive, pushes Keith away. Dead to Ander, but that's a trade kill over. The stunt will fall.
No, he's out. He's got the empowered recall.
Gonna zip out safely. But Hard will get out of there, as you mentioned, thanks to the Rift Herald pickup. So not bad. They get the Herald and they do trade a killer piece.
Yeah, and the entire bottom lane for both teams committed to that, but the biggest one was that Keith used teleport to get back up there. So that's going to be another summoner spell advantage for the bottom lane of 100 Thieves that could be used against them. You've got 30 seconds on an Ocean Drake. A good trade here for Prismal could allow him to just base and teleport back in. And we're going to take a look at how this fight all started, because it was initially the Golden Guardians that were very aggressive, but you see there that the Karma empowered Q breaks through the Morgana Black Shield, which makes the Tether a real threat.
Ole there with a counter ult of his own. Unfortunately, cannot live as Ander swoops in. And then this fight, Soligo started it off so well.
The funny thing was that they actually tunneled so hard on getting the fight that the Skarner was able to just scuttle into the back and get that Herald, because when you pull back the Herald so much, when you're trying to get that objective, you realize the actual objective itself is not going to spawn where you kill Herald. It always spawns at the center of the pit.
Yep, you know, have to walk back. Hard though, did manage to do just that. Was also looking bot lane there as Someday piling pressure onto Darshan right now. The Vladimir hit level 10, max transfusion, starting to really hit a few more peaks of power in the 1v1. And rushes down to the bottom side this time to try and bring back some of the pressure that Hard just applied.
There is an Ocean Drake. Last time 100 Thieves did this, they shoved out bottom lane, but Keith and Ole have not base here. They're still out and about. They are healthy, and with a Scuttler here, I don't believe that this is the play for the Thieves right now.
Yep, have to wait out the speed, try and cool down, so just getting some of the vision swept out.
They do have, actually, they might not have a teleport advantage here. It looks like Someday's about to base, use it into the top lane.
Yep. As noted, Darshan did TP back up. Someday needing to match that. Does also go back to the top lane. Herald will be summoned here in bottom lane. Going to try and give Keith and Ole some extra gold. The plates are still up. Very barely. Actually might fall off. Oh, I think just missed.
Like a carnival game. You almost had it.
Well, unfortunate. About a second short there for Golden Guardians. Getting that gold from the plates, but no time to cry over lost plate golds. Actually a fight breaking out here in the bottom side for this Ocean Drake. Potentially Hard goes in, looks for Ander, finds the Impale, through the pillar we go. Damage piles on, flash is not enough. And Keith able to grab that kill. Still the fight continues, Soligo TP's down. Keith gonna get tagged by the Q, Soligo flashes in, autoing away, gets the soldiers in, and that's the kill he needs.
So Ligo has to teleport into that fight because Golden Guardians had done such a good job in littering the river with vision that the Azir had no way to get in there without TPing. So a really good job from Golden Guardians, but an even better response out of the Thieves. This is just a crazy call. They should get out of here. You don't have smite.
Yeah, no jungler means that you're gonna have to fight if you want this Drake. Because Hard's just waiting for you to leash it long enough. They're gonna keep attacking it though. Stunt with a good Q onto Ole. Gonna try and keep them out of there. I guess if you can zone them away, Hard can't smite it. So that actually will be 100 Thieves force themselves around the objective and do finish it off.
Nice job by them. I thought that the Skarner was going to be able to get in there, but at the end of the day, it is a second 100 Thieves dragon. Yeah, they go for Anda, but even if he got his ultimate off, it's not like you're up against an Aftershock jungler. You're not getting crazy stats from stealing that ultimate, which is another reason why all those bans to the jungle pool made Anda's Trundle pick even weaker than it normally is seen as a response to these very beefy junglers. Only later, when Skarner has a stone play, will it really matter as the Trundle ultimate.
Thankfully, the early Karma pick, along with the Xayah that they selected in the draft, is paying off very nicely in this early game. Stunt has been shockingly accurate with these empowered Karma Qs. Just applying all that pressure in lane, and it's benefiting Prismal nicely, up 20 CS in a matchup, not just player-wise, but even champion-wise, that we thought 100 Thieves would be behind in. Keith also going to get pillared. Good black shield there from Ole.
This is a very different pace for the Thieves, though. I mean, if you recall all of their playoff series, you know, you check in at 15 minutes, someday usually up about 1,000, 2,000 gold. Hard has flash and his ultimate.
Yep, nice killing smite. Oh, Fernanda Impale GP ult. That's a kill for Ole. Now Prismal going to be forced to ulti, but can't really flash out to safety. Almost gets a kill, but Keith will pick up his instead.
The ease of execution coming into play for Golden Guardians. All you have to do is press go and then use Gangplank ultimate, and you get a fight right away. 100 Thieves is responding with likely to be both top and mid tower, but you can see when Golden Guardians wants to start a fight, they just have to do it. Whereas the Thieves have to always think about what they need to do in response due to the nature of their draft.
Yeah, Thieves seem like a really good, you know, what's the next step or obvious response kind of team. I mean, Palafox looks like he'll finish off this tower here, but Someday was continuing to apply pressure, still up about 20 CS in his lane. Soligo, without TP, decided it's not worth it to go down to the bottom side and save anyone, so takes mid-outer instead. Game is still staying very close, thanks to Thieves' reactions. The Golden Guardians that is willing to commit everything in the kitchen sink for these kills.
So I think that Anda's not using Pillar here, and I know he didn't go far back in the replay, but this might have been that Trundle was using the Pillar to face check, to check for vision first. The second the Pillar goes down, it's too early, no cooldown reduction. Skarner can go right on through because there was no, he didn't chuck out a Pillar, right? Otherwise you would have seen him use that to block out the Skarner. It's very similar to how Jarvan plays out. The second they use Flag to check for vision, that's when he gets engaged on.
Nice continued aggression here from most of the bottom half, really, from Golden Guardians. Siligo going to swap down here. Actually to Darshan, trying to apply pressure to this final outer turret. I mean, Darshan has a Hex Drinker, has the Triforce. He's somewhat well equipped to maybe fight here, but Siligo is perhaps too strong at this current moment for Darshan to do much else other than try and hit the minions under the tower.
That is putting Someday closer to the teammate. Looks like the Thieves are going to two-man Darshan here very soon.
Maybe even a dive lined up. The tower's still there, but I don't think they really care. Good push there from Siligo, but Teemo Play will follow Darshan after the flash. Autos go in, Transfusion makes it all so easy as Someday takes down Darshan.
And they can commit to all of this early because Baron is still not up for another minute. So yeah, you trade the top lane tower, and you might even lose the mid lane turret too, which would actually not be very worth it, but they are aware of what they are losing when they go for these kinds of plays.
I think made the gank happen to try and take down the bottom outer, which I think Siligo will be able to clean up. As you mentioned, the Palafox at least looking to trade, so Golden Guardians responding appropriately, keeping the towers even for now, although once Siligo finishes off the bottom outer, 100 Thieves will still be up about 1,000 gold, but between that and the two Drakes, that is a relatively small lead, given how much action's actually happened in these first 20 minutes.
And both these teams will be very happy hitting the late game. I mean, you have so much damage, you have tankiness, so it will all come down to the execution, and usually global objectives do matter a lot because game drags on, you hit Infernals, you hit your Elder Dragon, scaling all of a sudden is a huge deal, and you can actually put yourself in a position where you can trade Barons for Elders. It's a strategic choice. Right now, that's not a play for Golden Guardians. You're not getting anything out of an Elder Dragon when it gets to spawn.
Again, for the team whose coach just said, I think the meta is drifting more towards scaling, has clearly drafted for that, at least in parts of this game. I think Kelsey will be very happy with how these first 20 minutes have unfolded as far as what 100 Thieves have gotten out of the trades that have occurred. Also another Drake up right now. That's Ocean number 2 perhaps here for 100 Thieves. They have been on top of this objective spawn.
They really have, and the next one's going to matter even more. We see that the Skarner attacks was paid for by the jungler out of all players right away. He does not want to deal with getting pulled by Heart.
Level 11 now for Hard, but Someday level 14 with a Spellbinder finished. Skarner could not stay around very long, but does finish off a few of the little raptors there in the pit. Looks like blue buff over to Siligo as Someday moves down to catch the bottom wave of farm that's just crested in. Otherwise, I think Golden Guardians just trying to assault this tower. Olay a little early on that binding. Not quite able to get Prismal there.
That would have done so much, actually. If you line that up with a barrel and a Kate Trap, immediately force the Xayah ultimate. At best, you get a kill.
Yeah, and the kind of the middle of the road is getting that flash, which is also valuable. Prismal perhaps a little ambitious on that TP. Palafox wants to steal the red, but is smited by Anda, I believe.
Let's see if either of these teams is looking to fight right now, because the Sylas is really powerful. 2 items on him. Nobody else has really hit 2 items just yet. So they're putting him on the side lanes entirely, which, you know, I get it. You want to have your Caitlyn hit that crazy 3-4 item spike, outrange everything else. So they can always bank on that when it comes to Golden Guardians. But you also want to be looking for, you know, taking some agency in this game around these objectives.
Well, it's kind of funny that we tried to get away from the top lane story, you know? Because a lot of the map, well, we started there, but I think we went saying, you know what, the rest of the maps kind of has done a lot of work to get to this point. We were talking about how much action been happening on the bottom half of the game, but if we look at where the leads are, I have to tell you that once again, Someday is up 1,000 gold on
Again? It keeps happening. And that's against a champion that actually generates more gold on his minion kills for Gangplank. So it's Someday doing Someday things. That's, I guess that is why we call him the champagne in the top lane.
I mean, yeah, it's the biggest individual lead in the game. So we'll see if the continued pressure comes from Someday. So much experience too, the highest level in the game. Wow, we just took 15.
By 2 over Darshan too.
He has just been perma in these side
That's
lanes.
a red buff GP, though. That's a strong fellow.
Yeah, Skarner behind him also going to cause some potential problems. So somebody just going to rotate towards his team and try and fend off this perpetual siege in the mid lane. Golden Guardians Academy have been very stubborn in their attempts to try and take down this tower, but
They just really want it.
I mean, it's one of those things where you look so silly just drilling away at top tower mid tower for 10 to 15 minutes. But in the game, like, you realize that you really can't do anything else when that tower is still up. So it might look silly, there might be some ARM drugs floating around, but you do have to do this at some point. Otherwise, you just lose any chance of a geographic lead. As Someday, I think, might turn this around. Hemo playing on Darshan, lining up the EU Betterfly. Someday! Finally, an unforced error, flashing into the wall.
Oh, God. That's how it had to happen. Okay. He slowed himself down with his E, his Ties of Blood. He didn't anticipate that in his calculations. Oh, boy. But at least we know that he can beat Darshan.
Through Oranges and a Hex Trigger, potentially. Palafox in, looking for the ulti, finds Prismal, forced the Featherstorm out. Flash is going to be full, but a good route there does protect him. Now they're going to keep going here onto the Golden Guardian. Soligo does a ridiculous amount of damage. 2 item Azir says, see you later, kid.
And some days here, they're going to go for Baron. Hard has to find a way in, but how do you do that as Skarner? There's no jumps, it's just walking.
Enough pressure here from Sunday. Rotates in, gets bound. Ole loses most of his health bar from one spell. Hard trying to get in. Golden Guardians want to make it happen. Anda finds a smite onto the Baron. Now the Thieves will chase. Sunday powered up. Again, he's a little short, but he finds the Q for the speed up. Stunt, forcing the flash. Fishing for the Q there onto Hard.
Keith had flash in that entire sequence. He did not think that he was going to get 2-shot by Azir like that.
That's usually when you get 2-shot by Azir. So much damage from those soldiers. And that's a big price to pay for Golden Guardians. Finally a tangible lead in this game for a team. 100 Thieves find the Baron, up a few thousand gold and looking to do significant damage.
And you know, I can really tell that Palafox has practiced Sylas against Azir a lot because the quickness with which he stole the Azir ultimate and once again pulled the same move that he did on Soligo in mid lane, but on Prismal, really shows to me that he has this matchup down.
Heroic, so not enough to save that fight for the rest of Golden Guardians Academy. 100 Thieves will take this Drake, though, do at least a small reset of the map as Prismal goes back to spend.
Yeah, so take a look at Palafox because he steals it immediately, goes for the Xayah, and also gets her over the wall, which is just crazy good. But then the double route with Azir in the back is just nuts. And then Keith, 1, 2, bam. Felt like he had no chance.
Yeah, looks like it too after that replay. As 100 Thieves back to life, trying to pressure this tier 2 here in mid. Someday and Palafox now doing battle. Hard also roaming down. Someday pop Spellbinder for the move speed. Hemo Plague as well. Gets a good chunk of his health back, but here comes Skarner. Crystallized Lance. There's the Impale. Needs to do the damage. Into pool he goes. TP down from 100 Thieves. GP ult as well as here's Soligo. Gonna try and finish off the job. Hard the target, no, and they're gonna chase Palafox. Need to pick someone here. Palafox, no flash, not a bad one. Here's Prismal. Over the wall they go, but Anda chases with the chomps. Chains down, Palafox will die as the Feathers clip the feet there of Sylas. And Stunt still chasing Hard because he's running the wrong way and will collect the kill at the end of it.
He doesn't stop. Some days TPing, here's another fight. Oh, they're going for Darshan instead.
Good cutoff here. Someday finds the right target. Level 16. GP barrels dancing around, but just so much damage from the Vladimir. Death cap done. See you later, Darshan. Gets the Tides of Blood timing right this time. Someday takes him down.
Well, and they really just chase so much of the Golden Guardians lineup that while it does look pretty nice to get all those kills, you didn't break down any objectives with the Baron. It's only now that they're going to be able to start cracking down this mid lane turret, which is really going to be the first one. They need to get a little bit more, and I think this 1-3-1 is going to be that. You have Soligo in the bottom lane taking another one, so they are at the very least keeping their head in the game. Don't let the Fiesta turn you into a clown.
Well, they get 2 turrets, as Someday looks like he'll give up potential work on the third tier 2, so 5 now, 5-2 in turrets there for the Thieves. Is Hard again. We're gonna make the play denied by Anders Pillar.
3 QSSs now on the side of the 100 Thieves. Big deal now, as 2 of those are your primary carries.
Important to get away. We've seen Prismal playing a relatively self-sufficient AD when it comes to peeling. Get caught quite a lot just from Golden Guardians' playmaking and creativity. 100 Thieves kind of running the map at this point. Significant enough gold lead that they can take straight up brawls and win with relative ease.
They're very methodical though, especially Someday. When you look at how he plays, he really does not take many risks. The timing at which he saves pool on Vladimir is just impeccable.
I think the total influence Someday has on a game is so difficult to define that we just look at the CS leads because he's good at building those two and say, that's why. Yeah. Look at him, he's up in gold. Soligo and Powerfox doing battle 1v1, but I think Kasi is winning. GPO going to make it a little unfair, but Soligo going to win anyway, just takes down Powerfox.
That counts as a 1v2, doesn't it?
That's
right?
True. 1.5v1.
And now Darshan doesn't have his ultimate to defend himself in the top lane. It looks like Soligo is just waiting for everybody to show so that he can continue the onslaught that is Azir shoving turrets.
Oh, Someday weaving that auto onto the barrel. Level 18 now on this Vladimir. Almost has max spellbinder charges. Somebody's about to have a bad time.
He's 3 levels up on Darshan.
And again, it's one of those things where you're like, oh, he's pretty good. And then you look back and like, how did this happen? And it's all the little things, how he sets up, his TP choices, his wave management.
I mean, no wonder Keith doesn't expect these mages to take him down. They're so crazy high level.
Soligo actually cracked bottom there, so the 100 Thieves Baron push extension has paid off nicely. Here's Soligo looking for a pick. Oh, straight through it with the Black Shield. Very well played by Ole, as Darshan's able to grab that shutdown.
Yeah, the slows were really huge there from the Righteous Glory too, so another pick for the Golden Guardians. They are definitely still in this game, having a lot of late game tools. But we're always so worried when we see Someday having a 600 gold bounty, even though we've been looking at bottom lane, or even mid for most of the game.
Gonna watch how this plays out again. Prismal does dodge that binding, but you get again Thieves trying to pressure all 3 lanes.
Keep in mind, Soligo had stayed here until this was after the 1v1 against Silas. So after using his dash, some would say he should have dashed directly through the lane, but kill's a kill.
Yeah, not a lot Soligo can do there after that point. Darshan getting chased down. Someday, they're gonna just 1v1 everyone. Maybe make it a 1v3. Rest of the team's coming in. Someday gonna get burnt down. Pops the pool. His team's behind him. Into stasis he goes. Ole gonna be the target. They do get him down. Someday still alive. Shield from stun. But Someday still dancing. Got his ult stolen. Finally gets killed by Darshan. But the Thieves straight in there. Prismal with the aggressive ulti. Takes down Keith for the double. Make it 3. No, it's stunted. Steals the 3rd.
And that's likely to be an inhibitor for 100 Thieves, and it might be even more. Will they go for 2 and then even a Baron here? But that fight was started all by Someday. It was that somewhat unforced error, but the rest of the team was there to back him up and turn that play into a massive success.
They're going to go for the throat here. 100 Thieves can see that Nexus. Darshan just rooted in place. What is he doing? Prismal just slaps him down with the feathers, and that absolutely will be horseshoe right on this game as the Thieves barrel down, open up the Nexus, and take victory here in game number 1.
Just like that, one fight and the game is over. They recognize we don't need more Barons. We have what we need to end the game.
I don't know what Darshan expected. I think he just got...
I think so. Yeah, the crits. He got critted like crazy and did not understand that the Xayah at 3.5 items can 2-shot you.
I mean, at that point, also very difficult to defend, even if he does stay alive.
Yeah,
so it's not like Darshan living saves the game and then the Nexus stays up. Like, 100 Thieves played those, again, the team that is focusing on playing later, favoring scaling more, as that's where they believe the metagame is shifting. And that philosophy is paying off. I think playing quickly when they needed to, being a very methodical team, as you noted, but it felt like by the end of that game, 100 Thieves knew exactly what to do and closed the game out almost effortlessly.
They played the side lanes very well. We always had either the Vladimir bottom or the Azir looking it up. They even set up a 1v1, or a 2v1 dive against the Gangplank. So by attacking the side lanes and doing that constantly, you build up these CS and XP leads that by the time you group up with your solo lanes, Keith doesn't understand he's going to get 2-shot, or Vladimir can 1v1 Gangplank. And so playing that allowed these leads to just balloon to astronomical heights.
Well, certainly balloon they did, but to give us a breakdown on how Game 1 broke down, let's send it back to the Blast Off analyst desk.
Thank you very much. Pastry time. Game 1 goes the way of 100 Thieves Academy with a very solid victory here over the Golden Guardians. I want to take a look at draft to see where these teams, kind of threw their weight when it came to the resources in pick ban.
I think the first thing that jumps out is we've started seeing a lot of teams, when they pick Xayah, someone tries to hard call it out with Caitlyn Morgana, because the Rakan is what you want to take with it, but then if you do, you're basically going to get hard clapped in lane, which we've seen a number of times. And so then that forces the adaptation from the other team, where Morgana actually has a number of counters in the meta. Karma is the best of them, but like even things like Nami and some other options, you saw Biofrost try the Zyra, like you can counter that. And so it creates this weird back and forth in the bot lane.
Yeah, and I think this draft was pretty heavily favored for 100 Thieves. They had a good setup with the Karma counter pick. They got a Zero into Silas, which is a matchup where, Silas can do some things, but he's really on a timer to win the game. I definitely would like to see GGS pick if they're going to pick Silas mid, which is a melee aggressive mid laner, wants to snowball the game. I would like to see maybe an Azir ban, because Corki's a bit easier to punish. He can't go as far with his dash, and he's also not as safe early game. So I like to see take some safety away from Sligo, because you already saw Palafox was making plays. Palafox was insecting people. He was going for the plays I think he needed to be going for, but it wasn't enough.
Right, and in a lot of ways, the resulting draft here for Golden Guardians puts the onus on them in the early game to get things done, because the scaling on the side of 100 Thieves is phenomenal. They'll be happy with the game going at an even pace. But the attention, it went to the bot lane for this squad, which I guess is no surprise for the side of Golden Guardians, what we were talking about.
Yeah, and this just lost track of the feathers. They were all lined up, and Morgana kind of walks right on top of them, gets rooted, and then it's an easy follow-up for a kill, and that started this kind of bot lane action that kept happening, where they kept taking these fights, and that starts drawing pressure down there. The junglers are both collapsing down to try and find kills and stuff, and then you're not making those plays around mid that you were really looking for.
Yeah, I really like this from 100 Thieves. I think Fizzle and Stun are doing a really good job, and they picked a bot lane matchup that GGS wasn't expecting, so a really good punish by them.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying with the scaling in 100 Thieves' favor, the gold lead and the kills were close the entire time, but the slight pressure lead gave them objectives. And then, like you were saying, if you're not winning that early game, you're losing the game state. So you can always come back, but even though the gold's even, it's not favorable. And you were even saying that you think GP is worse than Vlad late game, which I think a lot of people, myself included, I'm surprised to hear that.
Yeah, I think Vladimir is just a champion where it has very little counterplay when it gets to late game. If he has flash, your backline will die. He will flash all your backline. He'll go into his pool, and you won't be able to CC him. You won't be able to damage him. He has Zhonya's too. Where GP, there's a lot of counterplay. He pops up his barrels. He needs that to kill you. You can hit the barrels. If you have fingers, you can hit the barrels, so you hit that.
An often forgot mechanic, though, in
your fingers?
Yeah, right, exactly. But to your point, yes, there are things you can do against a GP, even while he is a terror in the late game. Mark, you mentioned, though, that the kills there traded largely 1-for-1, 2-for-1 in some situations, small advantages, but nothing really of note, aside from the fact that 100 Thieves, again, was just continuing to scale into the late game. And that's where we turn our attention back to Golden Guardians and take a look at who was really trying to make stuff happen on the map, who was trying to pull it all back together, and that was the Silas Palafox piloting it in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, this was a sick play right here. I love this. He loved the punish of Sligo, no flash. He instant flash, instant punish. And the whole game, he was really just fighting people.
This
you
was
can
a
see
sweet
this.
attempt.
He went on a Xayah with ulti. That's a risky play. And a high pressure match, it's really nerve-wracking to try to do that. So I was impressed. And if I was GGS, I'd say, we lost that game. We can do better in draft. We can do better in play. I wouldn't be too nervous going into the next game.
Yeah, even though that play resulted in the Baron going over and kind of the end of it all for Golden Guardians, I like that he went for it, because you have to make a play to force the ultimate and flash out of the Xayah, because if you never do anything, he's safe the whole time. And so that was a play where he actually got out. It was Keith who was the straggler who got picked off. And so if they were a little bit more coordinated and saying, okay, we got the summoners back off and we'll do it again in a minute or two, as opposed to chasing too far forward to actually try and find the kill. If they get a little bit more on the same page, those are the plays that will eventually bring you back into the game.
And that was the inflection point of the match anyway, right? Even if you don't make that play and you just give 100 Thieves 5 more minutes to scale.
Yeah.
That they're essentially winning anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So again, you have to make the stab for the winning play at some point when you're the more early game oriented team. 100 Thieves with side selection has elected to hop over to blue side. So we will be flip-flopping here on the map. How does that kind of draft order or priority maybe change then for a team like Golden Guardians, say, who actually succeeded in the bot lane this time around, even into that Caitlyn Morgana?
Yeah, I'm curious to see what the teams are going to do about Xayah Rakan, because traditionally, in most pro games, at least in North America, Xayah or Rakan has been a red side ban because you don't want to 1-2 Xayah Rakan because of the fear of Kate Morg. But 100 Thieves kind of just switched it up. They picked Xayah on red side, so I think both teams might be, the Xayah Rakan is going to be a big, I guess, pressure point in the draft. I'm curious to see what the teams do about it.
Yeah, that with the Yuumi ban usually restricts red side a lot if you're banning Rakan and Yuumi and these kinds of things. So we'll see if both teams start dropping that a little bit more, as well as now no counter pick for someday. I assume they're going to leave Darshan to see what he's playing into a little bit more. So hopefully that can help out with that top lane matchup as well.
That was going to be my next question. We just saw someday take the victory over Darshan in the 1v1 with the Vladimir. And so again, what can Golden Guardians really do to maybe curb that this time around? Counter pick is one of their options. Game 1 goes the way of 100 Thieves. With the Academy World title on the line, though, we'll see if Golden Guardians Academy can answer when we return.
Boost ignites here as well. The defenders flash forward, ignite auto. That first blood stun. Once it's going to flash in, gets the auto down, gets the kill. Olay though pops the shackles. Ooh, Fernanda impaled GPL. That's the kill for Olay. Now Prismal going to be forced to ulti, but can't really flash out to safety. Almost gets the kill.
Watch me. Mark.
Flash.
Okay. Watch
Have blood. Scanner.
Scanner, no place, not.
Play together.
Watch Silas. Oh, nice.
3, 2, 1.
Silas.
Silas.
Come here.
Yeah.
We can.